Yeah. What's everybody fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.
Oh my gosh, it's people helping people!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It is a beautiful Friday. We have another amazing episode of People Helping People. Yeah. Oh man, it feels good. It feels so good. If you're just joining us, we finished our 30 by 30. We did 30 live shows in 30 days. And did we learn a lot? Man, was it an amazing endeavor. And now we're on to chapter 2. Chapter 2 of People Helping People. Chapter 2 is called The Give Back. We are here to put this community, this camaraderie that we have amongst the people, and we're doing what People Helping People is all about, and it's just that. So we're here, we're giving back. We're putting all of our community to good use, and we're not asking anybody to donate. We're not asking anybody to do anything, but if you would like to support our cause, we are sending kids with type 1 diabetes to Camp AZDA. That's Camp AZDA, A-Z-D-A. We will be sponsoring some families to get some kids to go to camp so the type 1 diabetic child doesn't feel alone in the world. Everybody at the camp is a type 1 diabetic, all the camp counselors, all the emergency staff, and all the other kids. So, being a type 1 diabetic myself, that is something that is just near and dear to my heart. So we, in chapter 2, are starting the give back. Thank you guys for joining us on this amazing adventure. Gosh, has it been fun. And if everybody is tuning in, if you could jump over to the YouTube, if you're not on there already, if you're watching from Facebook or Twitch or anywhere else, pop over to YouTube. The handle's right down here. Pop over there, show some love. And again, if anybody's just joining us for the first time, this is People Helping People. It's a live show. You can be involved in the conversations. You can be asking questions. We interact with you guys as we go. So go ahead, drop a comment, whether it's below you, to the side of you, wherever it's at. Drop a comment, say hello, show some love. And we're here to interact with you guys, because without you guys, we wouldn't be where we're at. So I just want to say shout out to Rich. We see you out there, legend in the house. Welcome in, brother. It's good to see you as always. And tonight we have an incredibly special episode with today. And excuse me, I was reading a comment while I was trying to talk there. But tonight we have an incredible episode for you guys. And I've been talking about getting this guy on the show for a long time. And I'll let you guys know who this is in just a moment, because we have some sponsors of the show. But stick around, because this interview is going to be a really, really fun one. So yeah, let's get into some sponsors. Tonight's show is sponsored by Mike Silkowski. And let me put on my old man glasses here. He's your local partner in getting your message in front of the right people. Mike specializes in helping businesses right here in Southern Tucson reach their ideal customers through TV and streaming services. He's not just sponsoring this chapter 2 of People Helping People. He's building partnerships. And he doesn't succeed unless you do. If you're ready to grow your business with someone who's invested in your success, call Mike directly at 515-305-5311. Again, that's 515-305-5311. And let Mike help you find your lane. He is a part of the People Helping People team now. And man, we really just appreciate you, Mike, for being a sponsor of the show. We were proudly representing you. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a drum roll, so I'm just going to beat on this table here. Again, we have an extremely special show for you guys tonight. We have a man who's taken on a lot of challenges in life. He's overcame fear multiple times, and he's somebody that you can look up to as far as an individual as far as an athlete. He is a professional boxer, and he has an 11-0 record, and he's just coming off a victory. And I am really excited to announce, ladies and gentlemen, today we have Solomon in the house. Welcome in.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, guys.
Absolutely, man. And I am so excited to have this discussion with you because I found a new love in boxing late in life, so late in life. And I see the guys in there, I see you in there working, I see the other guys in there working, and I realize that boxing is a lifelong endeavor. It's an art form. It's something that you never master. And for the people that don't know, before we dive too deep into the woods here, I'm getting excited. Before we dive too deep into the woods, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Solomon Okoronkwo. Like you said, I'm a pro boxer. Currently living in Tucson. That's how you and I met. Train out of the same gym. I'm originally, so I was born in Nigeria. Came to the U.S., immigrated to the U.S. with my mom when I was very little. Moved around a lot, but grew up in the Chicagoland area, Joliet, Illinois. Moved to Tucson close to 4 years ago now with my wife and my 6-year-old. And we have another baby on the way due later this year. But no, I'm just happy to be here. Thank you. And I'm just happy to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to have you here, ladies and gentlemen. Warm welcome to the professional boxer who's just out here handling his business. He's a family man, and he's putting in the work too. And I want to dive into, your not only just your boxing career, but maybe a little bit about your upbringing, because it sounds super unique.
Yeah.
You said that you were born in Nigeria, and when did you leave Nigeria?
So we left Nigeria when I was around 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
Me and my mom, we came here. And obviously that was hard. She had to start completely build her life over with a young child. So I really, that was my idol growing up, my role model, and she kind of put in me the work ethic that it takes to succeed in anything that you choose to do in life. So, my upbringing is a big reason, a big part of why I am the way I am now, and the person that I've become now. So
I love that, man. Shout out to the mamas.
for sure.
God dang. What can you tell me as far as work ethic when you were growing up? So you moved to the States, you saw your mom go through a lot of struggle and strife and hard times, and I'm sure that she had to be strong for you, right? And as you're a young kid and you're looking up to your mom, what are some of the things that she instilled in you? Like, what are some things that you remember about her work ethic that you take with you today?
Yeah, I think anytime like I think about the way that I grew up and her work ethic, especially it's just the approach to how you do certain things. Like I said, she had to start from scratch and kind of build her life back up. But like eventually she was able to, by the time I was in high school, we had a decent sized house. She got married, had my little brother, and kind of built this life up in America from scratch. But I think the biggest thing that I learned from her work ethic was just in her approach to the work. And, there's plenty of times, she could have complained, not gone to work. And, she did menial labor starting out from cleaning people's toilets to a cashier at Walmart. And she eventually worked her way up to manage her own store. But just in her approach to work, she did a lot of things that, a lot of people, I believe, would complain about or, kind of look down on, but she did it with a smile on her face. And regardless of what she did, she always did it with her best effort in mind. And that's something that, I still carry with me today, something that's always in the back of my mind. And like I said, that approach is something that, I take into anything that I do.
I love that. Again, shout out mama. And it looks as though we have some people in the comments here supporting you. Solomon, let's see. Taylor Waldron is out there. Welcome in, Taylor. We see you. Taylor says, looking forward to the episode tonight. Yes, indeed. You and I both. Let's see. Jen Hudetz. Sorry if I'm butchering these names. This is just how it's going down. Jen Hudetz says, Soul, You got some love out there. Jen's shouting you out. Rich is out there. He says, hello, Solomon. Am I saying your name correctly, or am I just going to butcher this?
No, you got it right.
Good, right? All right, good. Yeah, so we got Rich out here saying, hello, Solomon. Any relation to the soccer player?
No, no, we have the same exact name though. So maybe, but not that I know of, not to my knowledge at least.
Dang, that's wild. That's
Yeah.
wild. Kayla Coffee Studios says, hi, Solomon. Beautiful. So, I mean, as you know, this is a live show. So we bounce back and forth with the comments. If people have comments and questions for you, we'll dive into them. I don't like to derail the conversation too often to dive into those, but we always get to them during the show because those are the people that are keeping they're keeping the gears turning here for us. So we got to show them some love. But that's beautiful, man. I mean, to have a role model like your mother and see her work ethic and know, especially looking back as you become a man and you look back on those hard times and realizing that she always put on a face for you to make sure that things were okay, and there's so much strength and love in that. And is there, when you were a kid and you guys were going through that and your mom was putting in all this work, how was it that your perspective changed as you got older and you look back on everything that she had done?
Yeah, I think when you're a kid, like you're operating as a kid, obviously, but back then, I was worried about like kid stuff, like I want to get the next video game, so if I had to wait longer than I wanted to, I was mad, complaining about that, upset about that, but as I got older and life starts to hit you, reality starts to hit you as you get older, you start to understand and appreciate a lot of what your parents went through. And so like I think really as I've gotten older, and I've been in a similar position as a parent now that I have a 6-year-old, like I said, another baby on the way, it makes you really appreciate the good things that your parents did for you. Life experience teaches us all. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said, man. Well said. And I don't think that we could have an interview today without diving into the beginnings, how you got infatuated with boxing or the origin story of Solomon as a boxer. And I want to know where it stemmed from. Where was the first time that you saw boxing, and was it just a light bulb moment, or walk me through that?
no, it wasn't. I wouldn't say like I fell in love with boxing as like the first time I saw a match or anything like that. I think in high school, my first like love passion was football. I played a little bit of college football, D3, and then I transferred schools, which is where I started boxing eventually. But I mean, it was always something that I liked. Like I played football. I was big on, like I kind of like violence in a sense, like I like to get it out in some way. So that's part of the reason I played football, which is my first love. Went to college, transferred schools, and then, I was just going to class. The school that I went to, Southern Illinois in Edwardsville, they didn't have a football team. I was just going to class, working out, lifting weights. And I was like, I need something competitive because, I didn't really have an outlet. So then, I've watched boxing, seen boxing. Floyd was really big at the time. So he always had, a couple big fights every now and then. So eventually I was like, all right, let me try my hand at this. I went to a local boxing gym close to my college. And, from then on, it reminded me a lot of what I loved about football starting out. Like I wasn't good at it in the beginning, but there was just something about that violence. But then also when I gradually started seeing myself getting better, I was able to put more effort into it. And then, I had my first couple of fights as an amateur, did really well, knocked a couple people down, knocked a couple people out. And, from there, then that's when that love started growing, when I saw that I had potential in it.
Yeah, that's a great answer, man. I love that. And, I feel as though a lot of people, whether it be the military or organized sports or whatever it is, like there's a sense of camaraderie and a sense of you having that ability to look at yourself every day and see progress, and And I think that boxing is one of those things, like I said in the beginning, where it's a lifelong endeavor. It's a never ending story. There's always something in it, and everything changes depending on the opponent that you have in front of you. And I think that's really cool, man. I'm glad that you found boxing the way you did because it's fun to watch you, man. It's fun to watch you, yeah. And I want to talk about too, like after those first amateur fights, right? So you started to take things a little bit more serious, and you got into the ring for the first few times. Kind of walk me through after you had got those two fights under your belt, what your thought process was, and if you were just all in at that point.
Yeah, I think by the time I had my first amateur fight, I was definitely all in on boxing by then. At that time I would skip going to parties just to go on runs and hit the gym. Like I was really focused towards the later years of my college in college. I think for me, the after my first fight, it was almost like a blur. All really I remember from there is like walking into the ring, and then next thing I knew, I was walking out, won by decision. But every fight after that, leading up to it, I always dealt with like fear or anxiety prior to that. But as I got more experience, I began to see that as part of the process, which obviously has helped me in my pro career as well. But like, for my first fight, where you almost you don't know what to expect, so like it's just excited energy,
Yeah.
right? Rather than really feeling nervous. But then when you kind of know what you're getting into after that first fight, like I said, that's when I started dealing with a little bit of anxiety, and then I had to really get a grasp of like the mental aspect of boxing and
Mm.
realize that it's more than just brute strength and just the physical aspect, running and all of that. There's
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up too because it's such an important piece of so many different aspects of life, and I think that that parlays into your relationships, into your career, into so many other things. Is like overcoming that fear, coming face to face with it, and realizing that you don't know the outcome, and that's the scariest part. So my question to you is like, as you've grown as a boxer, as you've grown as an individual, as a father, how has your mindset changed to overcome the fear before getting into the ring or taking on something new in your life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think now the difference is like I said, you kind of understand that it's part of the process and you have to find a way to use it to your advantage. I
Mm.
think in life, you look at anyone who has ever achieved anything great, like you can guarantee that they felt those same moments of anxiousness, fear, anxiety, all of that. But what made them great and what made them who they were was, what they did. Sorry, my dog is going crazy here.
Oh,
But
it's
what they did in spite of some of those feelings, or even because of those feelings, right? So
mm,
I try to remember things like that, and then that helps, how I handle the situation from there on out. But now, like, I'd be lying if I said I didn't get nervous or feel anxious or think like, oh, is this the guy that's going to beat me? But again, like I'm so used to it now because I go through those same emotions and thoughts, every fight. But when it comes to fight time, like I know, like I've have a process that when I'm in the ring, when I'm walking in, like I'm so locked in that there's no doubt in my mind when I step in the ring that I'm, going to walk out victorious.
I love that. That unwavering confidence, man. That's amazing. And your record right now is?
11-0, 7 knockouts. The last fight,
Come
second
on.
knockout, moving up.
I love it, man. And tell me a little bit about how you stepped into Tucson and our mutual friend and coach, Jake Wilson. Huge shout out to Jake Wilson over there at T-Town Boxing. Yeah, tell me a little bit about maybe the first time that you came in and met Jake, and then what it's evolved into over the years.
Yeah, so when we moved to Tucson, like I was like, I think I was just about getting ready to turn pro. My wife and I bought a house out here. So, I just hit the internet, was looking for closest gyms to me, and like doing research on some of the gyms around here. And I think I came across Jake, looked him up, saw that he was a professional boxer, reached out to him on Instagram. I saw he had a picture with his son. So like I knew we had that connection. And then, I just went into the gym once, and he and I were talking, and what I think made me decide to stick with T-Town and stick with Jake was that I feel like we share so much of the same mindset. Like his approach to training, being a business owner, like it's the same approach that I have to boxing and anything that I do in life. Like he works his ass off. His work ethic, I feel like is second to none. And it's like when you're surrounded around people like that who work their ass off, who are passionate about progress and passionate about their craft, like that is you can't help but let that trickle on to you. So like it was just almost like an instant connection as soon as he and I met.
Absolutely. Shout out Jake at T-Town. Absolutely. And we got a bunch of people in the comments here showing you love. Mercy Ocean. I don't know. Can you see the comments?
Yeah, I can see it on my end.
Okay, cool. Good. Yeah, we got a bunch in there. So at any time, if you see any comments over there that you want to address and say hello to people, you're more than welcome. And we have Kayla Coffee was asking a good question here. She says, when I played volleyball, I always wore crazy socks on tournament days. Kept me mindful, as she says, kept me mindful or something. She asked, do you have any unconventional pre-fight rituals? That's
a good question. Yes, I want to say I'm superstitious. I'm a little stitious. That's Michael Scott quote. But like I always wear 2 pairs of socks in all my fights, or I try to when I can. I think there's been like 1 or 2 fights I haven't. It just makes me feel more comfortable. What else? I have to call my wife like right before I head to the venue. And she always kind of gives me advice. We'll do like a little meditation prayer together. I'll say like unconventional, like nothing too crazy. I have to always listen to music, like at least a couple minutes before I start getting ready and dressed and stuff. But other than that, nothing too crazy.
What's your go-to artist or jam before you get out there?
Like I'm all gangster rap, like right before I get in. ESTG, one of my favorite artists right now, Lil Baby. Old Jeezy, Jay-Z. I like classic hip hop too. So
nice. Yeah. See, I'm the same in the gym. It's all the good hip hop all the way down the list.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, beautiful. Thank you so much for that question, Kayla. Appreciate that. That was a great question. And yeah, I want to talk about, boxing. I think a lot of people look at boxers on TV and think, it's just that one guy out there getting after it, right? And it's really a team sport. And as we talked about, Jake being your coach and you guys are moving through this thing together. I want to know, say you go into a match and in between rounds, like what kind of things does a coach even say to a boxer? I think that so many people question that. Like, are they critiques or what's he telling you?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the situation. I think that's why like it's so important as a boxer to have like a really good connection with your trainer, because your trainer doesn't know you personally, like know how you operate, know what you best respond to. It's like those corner moments in between rounds, can be the difference in whether or not you win or lose a fight. So like with Jake, like again, I think he and I have a really good relationship. So usually in the corner, even if it's, something that I've done wrong the previous round, something I need to correct, like he's always calm, stays calm. And like, he knows like, that's what I respond best to. So like, he kind of knows how to communicate with me, but usually it's either one or the other, words of affirmation, like I'm doing things well, or like a specific things that I need to focus on for the next round and kind of lock in on.
I got you. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, man, because I think that's such a common question. It's just that thought process of like the little inside baseball, knowing who's saying what and how it goes down, right?
I'll say this too, though. Like, I mean, Jake also does this and he knows when it needs to be brought out, but like, you also got to have those moments with your trainer, like regardless of how you feel, like they have to be like, fuck it, and tell you what you need to hear in that moment to get you right. So, like he doesn't hesitate to give me a kick in the ass when I need it too. So
nice. Yeah. Shout out Jake at T-Town. Absolutely. Yeah. And I want to talk about, this last fight. From what I understood, it was just crazy crazy. The lead up and then the actual fight itself and the opponents. And I want you to run me through what had happened when you first got the fight booked up until fight day
Yeah.
and then afterwards as well.
Yeah, it was there was kind of a lot leading up to this fight. So prior to my last fight, I had a fight in Colombia where I won, but I actually ended up having two fractures in my left orbital. So that was a couple months before the fight. So obviously there was question like, am I going to be healed up before the fight that I just had? Luckily I was. But then I was originally scheduled to fight, I believe, Rodrigo Escacena. He's like a veteran. He's had like 40 plus fights, tough guy, only been knocked out once in 40 some fights out of Argentina. But then I don't know, maybe a couple days leading out to the fight, prior to weigh-ins, he just dropped out of the fight, claimed he had a medical issue or had a medical issue. So they had to fight a last-minute replacement. Luckily, they were able to find Anthony Lindenfelser, and we were able to still make weight. Had the fight, obviously, it went how it went. Was able to get him out of there in the second round, but I appreciate him stepping up and taking the fight last minute. But yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a roller coaster the whole lead up, but I just did my best to stay locked in and focused on what was in my control.
Yeah, man. I mean, when I heard that story of everything that you guys had to go through, all the travel, and then getting
flight, almost missing his flight too. Yeah, it was
crazy. Yeah, so crazy. But man, I mean, like you said, it's just that's kind of the name of the game sometimes, and it's you're signed up for it, and you got to overcome some fear every single time. And I want to talk a little bit about like the weight cuts and things like that, because I was always curious, as somebody who watches boxing from the sidelines and, just dabbles in the gym myself, I think about like what weight I would fight at. Like, what do you walk around at and what do you actually fight at?
Yeah, I typically walk around, anywhere 170, a little bit over that, 175. And I fight at 154. I'd say like the weight cut is always the most difficult part of camp for the most part. But like if you're training and working your butt off like the way you're supposed to, it really shouldn't be an issue. But it's just, the last couple days leading up to weigh-ins when you're cutting all the water weight, there's all this good food around you, temptation, wanting to eat, but you kind of have to be strict with your diet, especially during the last week and a half. But again, it's one of those things that it's a mental battle as much as it is physical. And if you can make it through that, like it puts you in the right mind frame come fight night after you actually weigh in.
Yeah, there's got to be such a sense of confidence knowing that you put in all the work.
Yeah.
You took all the right steps to make sure that when you're standing there, you are your best self. And I think that, a lot of people that go into situations like that in life as well, too, those moments of weakness do hold and ring so loudly in the back of your head. If you know deep down, like, man, I shouldn't have missed those runs for those 3 days because the guy you're fighting or the person in front of you was there doing doubles on those 3 days. Yep. And that's haunting. So
100%. It's like you have to, like, true confidence, real confidence, like comes from you earning it through the work that you put in. Like it's enough and there's a lot of guys in this sport who, talk a big game and brag a lot, but, deep down, if you're being truly honest with yourself, it's like we all have that fear leading up to a fight. And if you know you didn't put the work in, but, you're talking like you did, that is always going to show on fight night, regardless of how good a game you talk. So it's like real confidence comes through, the work that you put in. And when you put in that work, it's like you go in there almost with no fear once that bell rings.
I love that, man. Thank you for sharing that. And I think we got a bunch of people, including myself, on the sidelines rooting you on, and it looks as though Mark in here. Do you know Mark? Because he's asking who's your favorite uncle.
My brother. That's my brother-in-law. That's my guy.
Nice. Welcome in, Mark. He says, "Who's your favorite uncle?" Yeah, and he says, hold on, let's see. Mark says, will Adonis be following in your footsteps? Did I say his name correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's my son. Like I said, he's 6 now, turning 7 in a couple of months. I think a little bit, honestly, like the past couple of months, he's been showing like he wants to box a little bit. He's always punching me and everything. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I've always been big, and I always had this mindset even before he was born. Like I'm never gonna like push him or try to force him to go into boxing. But if it's something that he wants to do, as his father, I'm always going to support him. Obviously, it's a sport that I'm in. I'm going to do my best to guide him the right way if it's something that he chooses to do.
I love that, man. I love that, and that's says a lot about your character as an individual and a father. Just allowing him to choose what he feels in life draws him in, and to nurture that, and that's special. That's special. Not a lot of people in the world get that opportunity. They get pushed into things.
I agree.
Yeah, so to have that support system is incredible. But I want to break things down for people that are maybe scared to start boxing, or maybe people are in boxing and want to consider going into an amateur fight. So let's kind of break that down a little bit. If somebody is scared to step into a boxing gym for the first time, what would you have to say to them if they're considering?
Yeah, don't be scared, right? Like again, like anything in life, like you're gonna go in there. It may seem intimidating, right? There's people who've been doing it years in there, but like anything in life, it's like if you really want it bad enough, if it's a goal of yours, it's like you just have to push past that fear. And it's not, especially in the beginning, if you're just starting out, even if it's something that you want to take, just boxing on an amateur level and having fights, but still you have to take it somewhat seriously if you don't want to go in there and get your ass beat.
Yeah.
It's not always fun, especially in the beginning. There's going to be a lot, if you have a good coach, of just going over the basics nonstop for a month, 2 months. When I first started, I was throwing 1-2s for like 2 months straight before I was able to, move on to anything else. So I think as long as someone it's truly something that someone wants to do, because there's a saying that you can't play boxing if you want to fight. If you want to, just do it boxing wise, like for fitness or anything like that, I always recommend it too, because I think it's the best way to stay in shape. But again, if you want to do it competitively, I think you have to be ready and to make that commitment, because it's a dangerous sport. But as long as you have a mindset where you're not opposed to looking bad in the first couple months, to getting your ass beat in sparring, like everyone does when they first start. Like it's like you almost have to humble yourself. Be ready to humble yourself. If you do that, it's like sky's the limit.
Well said. Well said. And that's too true as well. It's like, we used to box back in high school, right? Kids would throw on the gloves and you might feel some type of way because you knocked some kids down or you had some street fights or whatever it is. And then you step into a boxing gym and you realize, well, I don't know anything at all. Not even close. Like I'm not even scratching the surface of somebody knows how to box, And even after, the time that I had been boxing, it's like I still was realizing every day that the little that I do know, it felt like the more I knew or the more I learned, the less I knew. And it's like it just kept expanding and expanding. And I realized that boxing was this dance. It was a full recircuitry of the entire body from nose to tail. And I'm like, man, I gotta relearn how to walk here, take it all the way back. And luckily, when I started, it was underneath Jake. So I'm not learning bad habits.
Yeah.
And that was really great. But
no, that's a great analogy there. But yeah, like it's so important, especially in the beginning, to have a good teacher that'll teach you the fundamentals, regardless of how unsexy it is. But that's what pays off in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I'm just thankful to be there. I'm thankful to have Jake around, and I've taken a back seat and haven't been in a while. Life is lifing. But that brings me to my next question. I think that's a perfect segue into the word balance. You're a father, you're a husband, you've got another baby on the way, you're a working man, and you're a professional boxer. How do you balance?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Like God is who I give credit to just for
Mm.
helping me have the mindset that I do. But I think I've said this before in another interview, but like, sometimes like I'll sit back and just think of all the things that I'm doing, everything that you just said. And, I ask myself the same question sometimes, like, how am I doing all of this? But
Yeah.
kind of the mindset that I have is like, I do my best to whatever I'm doing in the moment. I do my best to give that my full attention. Other
Mm.
than like when it comes to my family is always in the back of my mind. Like nothing comes above them. But anything else, like it's like I'm going to be focused on whatever I'm doing in that moment. So when you know I live in Arizona, but majority of my team that I work with, I have a corporate career. They work in the East Coast, so I start work at around 5:30 my time. So when I'm working, it's like my entire focus is on work, and then I'm working a couple hours on my lunch break. I'm able to get some time to work out, go on a run or something like that. My attention is going to be focused on that,
Mm.
and it's back to work. I'm back locked in on what I have to do in my corporate career. After that, if I'm in the gym, it's like, I'm focused on that. So it's one of those things where if you focus on what you have to in a moment, then you can look back and, kind of see everything that you're accomplishing. So, I just try to take it one step at a time, focus on what's in my control in the moment.
Mm. That answer right there, so good. And I think everybody can take that home with them tonight. I first off want to say thank you to everybody that's joining us at People Helping People. And again, we're here with Solomon, and he's an 11-0 professional fighter. He's a father. He's working full-time job, and we're talking about balance right now. And what he had said, and I'm going to break this down real quick because I absolutely love it, and I think that that's really important. And I thank you. This show to me, and here's my ADD brain going crazy. This show to me is so exciting because I get to sit down with people who are smarter and in different avenues in life, and I get to learn. I get to get this wisdom, and I'm so thankful that I have this platform to grab the wisdom from the people that I get to sit down with and share it with them as well. So we all sit here, we all learn from you, and we all come together as a community, and we're able to do this as one. And so when we're talking about you and balancing all of these things, it's to give 100% of your focus on the challenge that is in front of you. And whether it be work, whether it be boxing, whether it be fatherhood, whether it be a workout, dropping everything for that moment in time and giving that your attention.
Yeah.
And I think that is so well said. And again, I sit here and learn. I am a student of life. And the more I learn, it feels like the less I know. The world just keeps expanding the more that I take in. So I really do appreciate that. And again, man, we got a lot of questions here in the chat for you. We got a lot of questions in the chat. Let's see. Taylor Waldron. Oh, this is great. This is good. She stole the words right from my mouth here. Where do you see yourself, or where do you see your boxing career going in 2026? Great
Uh,
question.
yeah, I think next year the way things are mapping out right now, next year is going to be a huge year. The goal is to get me, a solid opportunity, a TV fight, TV slot, where I can get some eyes on me, showcase my talent, and then from there it's off to the races. When I win that, it's going to be even more bigger opportunities coming. But I think next year, the way it's panning out right now, like I said, God willing, I'll be on some TV screens, being able to showcase my talent.
Let's go. Love that. Great question, Taylor. Thank you for that. Let's see. Mark has some insider information here. He says, how did you win when you broke your hand?
Oh yeah, I broke my hand. I want to say my sixth or seventh fight in the first round. Yeah, that was honestly it. I think a lot of it was the adrenaline because I really didn't feel it until the second to last round, around the third round. But it was one of those things. Like I said, the adrenaline was running. I didn't really even think twice about it for 2 rounds until towards the end of the fight. And then during that time, it was like, I'm already in here. My hand hurts like hell, but like the only thing that I was focused on like the last round and a half was not letting my opponent see it. He was like talking crap during the fight too, so I knew like if I showed any ounce of weakness, like he probably exploit it. So just did my best to stay calm. Was able to pull out the decision win. So yeah, I mean, you just gotta. It's an interesting game. You gotta have heart, but you never know what's gonna happen during the fight.
I love that. Great answer. Thank you for that question, too. We appreciate everybody that's jumping in the chat right now. Kayla Coffee Studios says, I started boxing with Alexander at T-Town about a year ago. By far still a beginner, but lots of room for improvements. You inspire.
Love that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Rich says, thank you for hitting that line. Oh, yeah, Rich, man, that's our guy out there. He's here every single show. He's showing love. He's introducing himself to the people in the chat. He's our guy. Rich says, thank you all for hitting that like button. And you're right, Rich. I don't have many calls to action. I'm getting better at it. Go ahead, give us a thumbs up, show us some love. We do this to bring you guys inspiration, knowledge, wisdom, and just spread the seed of love. That's what it's all about, just cross-pollinating some good information. So let's see. Mercy says, Solomon, you give all the glory to God.
That's my mom, too.
Hey, Mom. Welcome in, Mama. And she says, focus is key. Let's see. Kayla Coffee Studio says, are there any training exercises you do that most boxers might overlook? And what is one exercise you would recommend to sharpen a boxer's technique the most? Ooh.
That's two great questions. I think as far as training exercise, I think a lot of boxers overlook that are good. And I'm saying that because I used to overlook it early in my career until I got with Jake. But neck exercises are very beneficial. Like even just taking like a towel, tying it, attaching, some weight under it, and then just doing yes, no's, side to side and up and down. Like that goes a long way in strengthening your neck, protecting you from getting knocked out, or at least your ability to take a punch well. And as far as like sharpening your technique, that's a good question too. I think honestly, shadow boxing in front of a mirror, especially early on, is like I think one of the most, I want to say underutilized. Every boxer shadow boxes, but shadow boxing with intention, where if you're starting out, just not working on speed, not worrying about whether or not you look good or not, but just throwing with good form, practicing that, like key to get better.
Great answer. Great question. Thank you for that, Kayla Coffee Studios. We appreciate it. Well, listen, man, I want to thank you for stepping on to the podcast, but giving people a little deeper dive, looking behind the curtains of, a man who is out here utilizing boxing is like this amazing vehicle to, excel in the career of just that, of boxing. And it's really cool to see. It's really cool to hear your origin story of where you came from, how you fell into boxing, and now you're making something of it, and we're all here to watch, and it is really exciting, man. But I got to know, before we go, besides 2026, what's the end goal? Who are you looking for? Are you headhunting? Is there one boxer you just got to have?
No, honestly, like that's never been my mentality. My goal is, and what I'm going to make happen is become a world champion in this sport. And when that time comes, as it gets closer, it's not going to matter, who I have to fight to make that happen. But I'm going to make that a reality. So that's definitely what I'm hunting down. That's the end goal. I'm a big believer that, and again, it's the mentality that I take in everything I do in life, like not half-assing anything. I don't believe in doing anything unless your goal is to be the very best that you can be at it. And I believe like if I could reach my potential, get close to my full potential in this sport, I don't think there's a lot of people in this world that, are going to beat me in this sport.
I love that, man. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And where you think you're at with your 10,000 hours?
Nowhere near, but again, that's like the fun part. I don't know, actually. I've been boxing close to a decade, so I don't know the math on that. But either way, I know I still have a lot of work to do, a lot of potential that I'm nowhere close to yet. So like that's kind of what drives me, motivates me to keep working hard. Like I know I'm nowhere near the potential that I have in this sport. So, I'm
I
just
love that, man. Yeah, I love that. And I'd like to know too, who do you, I mean, was there boxers that you idolized, and did you have heroes in the boxing space? And if you did, who were they? If not, who is now? Who are you looking at?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Even when, like I said earlier, like when I was in high school, like I was a fan of boxing, but it wasn't
Mm.
like my passion. I was always a big Roy Jones Jr. fan. That's my favorite boxer of all time. I feel like when it comes to natural talent in the sport, I don't think there's anyone who is naturally as gifted as he was. So him, Muhammad Ali, is a role model of mine, not only just in the ring but outside of the ring as well. For everything that he accomplished in his life before he passed. I'm a big Floyd fan as well. Right now, I'd say my favorite fighters. It's crazy because they're about to fight, but Terrence Crawford and Canelo, two of
Mm.
my favorite fighters right now. I'm a big Gervonta Davis fan. I'm just a fan of the sport. I could keep naming people,
Yeah,
but you let me. So
absolutely. I love that, man. I love that. Let's see what we got here in the comments real quick. Looks like Mark says, great podcast, Alex. Keep doing what you're doing. Come on, Mark. Come on. Thank you. Thank you. We're just getting started, This is the beginning of something special, and we thank everybody for joining us. And as Rich would say, the calls to action are important. If you're not watching from YouTube, go watch from YouTube and subscribe. We just are sitting here trying to be people helping people, right? That's all we're trying to do, is just make a difference, make connections between people that can utilize those connections and bring wisdom, love, and inspiration to the people around us. So come join us. If you enjoy the podcast, be along for the ride, and we appreciate you. Thank you for that, Mark. Let's see. When is your next fight? Do you have an opponent set up?
not at the moment. We have nothing locked in yet. Like I said, my wife is pregnant, so that's kind of like my main focus right now. We have a baby due in a couple months. But if I don't fight before the end of this year, the goal is early next year to be back in the ring against. We're doing our best to level up the opponents every single fight that I have. So, it's going to be another tough opponent, a veteran, ideally, but the goal is going to remain the same regardless of who's standing across from me.
Yeah. How do you guys pick opponents? How does that
Yeah.
even work? Is that Jake's job?
No, so we have so I'm signed to a promotional company right now. They're based in the Midwest. Shout out 15th Round Promotions.
Shout out.
And the majority of my last fights have been on their card. So they do a great job of finding opponents. Like I said, I was scheduled to fight someone in Argentina. I fought someone from Colombia. We went to Colombia a couple fights ago. So they do a good job of finding me good opponents that are ahead of me in the rankings or near me in the rankings, so I can keep consistently moving up.
I love that. I love that. Great, man. Well, I got to ask before we go, and I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. I want to thank you for, gracing our community here with your wisdom and giving a little behind the curtain view of somebody who is a professional boxer and balances real life with that. And I want to reiterate for anybody that's stepping in late, the balance aspect of Solomon's life, because I'm going to take this with me. I'm just reiterating to myself at this point, right? To balance so many things, to give 100% of your attention on the task at hand. And in a world of distractions, in a world of ADD brains like myself, I think that's real pivotal, and I'm gonna focus on focusing on that. So that's great. Thank you for that, Solomon.
Of course. Hey, I'll say this. I think you're doing a good job as is already. You're running this show, great musician as well. Like, what it's like, if you're doing multiple things, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. So, if you don't have that ability to kind of focus on one thing at a time, give it your best ability, it's very easy to, feel that anxiousness coming in with everything going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great gentle reminder though, and I appreciate that. And like I said, selfishly, I get to sit here and talk with people that are sharing nuggets, they're sharing amazing wisdom. So I'm blessed, I'm grateful, And yeah, this platform I hope helps other people out too in their daily life. And if they want to try new things, go try boxing. If you want to get in shape, go try. I'm telling you, and the beauty of boxing is it bleeds into everything else in life. All of a sudden, I'm a little bit lighter on my feet. You know, when I'm going to the actual gym, things feel a little different. You know, my fast twitch muscles are activating different. Like it just yeah, it gives you a nice little sense of confidence too. Like there's a lot of things that I think boxing can do for people if you just give it a try and don't let it be a big, daunting undertaking. Just go give it a go, you know. And T-Town, if you're going to start, that's a great place to do it. So
That's definitely.
absolutely. Well, Solomon, before I let you go, man, I again want to thank you for being on the show and ask you if there's anything you'd like to leave with the people before you go.
Yeah. One, I appreciate you having me on the show. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, sent these great messages. I think if there's one thing that I could leave anyone is just, I'm a big believer in trying to make the world a better place, for the generation after us. I think the easiest way that we could do our part in making the world a better place is just one, by being your authentic self, but then also treating people the way that you want to be treated, whether it's your family, friends, all of that. If you operate with that mindset in everything you do, like that's you doing your part to make this world a better place. Something little goes a long way.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, Solomon.
Sure.
And you know what? On that topic, hold on. See this.
Yes. I love that. Give yourself grace.
Give yourself a little grace
I love that.
because our own best friend and our own worst enemy is right here. So this is a beautiful, gentle reminder to give yourself a little grace and show yourself the grace that I know that you people are showing everybody around you because you deserve it, right?
Yes, sir.
Be your own advocate. Love yourself more than anybody else ever could. And Solomon, thank you so much for stepping in here. Thank you for the wise words and giving us a moment to look behind the curtains of the man, the myth, the legend, Solomon. I appreciate you, man. You take care.
Likewise. Likewise.
Take care. So good. So good. Oh my God. Huge shout out to Solomon. And, again, people helping people is, I don't know. I just feel selfishly lucky that I stumbled into this. My life of production, my life of music, my life of starting businesses has boiled down to this. And now I get to sit here with people that inspire me and ask them the questions that I may not ever get to ask in a real face-to-face conversation. A lot of conversations in life is you see people in passing, or even you sit down and maybe have a meal with somebody, whatever it may be. These types of questions are the questions that excite me, to really get to know somebody, And so next time that we get to see Solomon fight, we know more of who Solomon is. And I hope that he's going to want to come back on the show as he continues to move forward in life and evolve and grow. And we can check back in with him, see if his mindset has changed, see if, the weight cuts are any different now, or if he's planning to move weight classes or whatever it may be. But this is so exciting. This is just exciting. And I just appreciate everybody that's stepping into the chats, being a part of the conversation, being a part of the community. And like I said, this is chapter 2 of People Helping People, and this is called The Give Back. And we have finally launched our donation link. If you're watching on YouTube right now, and I hope you are, because we're trying to get that YouTube up to where it needs to be. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll put it on the screen here. Give me 1 second. But there we go, right here. Check this out. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. And in the YouTube channel description there, you'll see that there is a link to donate. And I'm not asking anybody to do this. I'm just saying if you would like to be a part of this, We are sponsoring kids to go to Camp AZDA. As a type 1 diabetic myself, who was diagnosed at 28 years old and have been alone with this disease for that many years, I think that something like Camp AZDA can be a life-changing and a life-altering event for letting somebody at that age realize that they're not alone, where everybody else at that camp is also a type 1 diabetic, including the camp counselors, including the medical staff, and giving them a community and support and love. And so if you feel as though that calls to you as well as it does to me, you can donate right below. There's a link there to donate to sponsor or help to sponsor a kid to go to Camp AZDA. And the purpose and idea of that is once we get these kids sponsored, if the families are comfortable with it, we can interview the families and see the impact that the camp has made and follow people's stories. And so you guys can see exactly where your donations are going. And so that's the goal, and that's what we're here doing today. So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful to be in this position, to be able to do this. I'm grateful for our guests. I'm grateful for Solomon. I'm grateful for the people around me. I mean, yeah, I'm just grateful. And if you guys need some merch, It's a Good Life. Give yourself grace. Go to pennyandbenny.com. or Penny and Benny LLC on Instagram. I mean, his stuff, come on. Just gentle reminders to give yourself some love. He's got a whole line called Words of Comfort. Oh man, I'm losing it. Here we go. Called Words of Comfort. It's a whole clothing line. And he's got a whole bunch of great stuff like this. And, you never know how you're going to affect somebody by wearing something that means, is spreading a good message. So let's take a quick look at the comments here before we sign off. Let's see. Oh, sorry about that, Mark. We didn't get to that question on this show, asking about the next fight and the opponent's pedigree. But it looks like he's just focused right now, focused on, the baby that is to come. So, congrats on that, man. That's beautiful. And focus indeed. I'm really happy that we had this conversation tonight. That was great. Rich says, congratulations on winning your fights and goals. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. He's doing great, man. And Jake told me too. He was like, dude, you got to have Solomon on. So, I knew that friendship was really close between the two of them. So the bond between the coach and the fighter is really a special thing. So maybe in the future, because we've had Jake on this show, we can get the two of them sitting down together and then hear from both sides and then hear how they come together. And I don't know. I think that would be really cool following that story. Let's see. Kayla Coffee Studio says, talking to the future world champ. Yeah. And let's all tune in and support any which way that we can, right? I completely forgot to ask Solomon how we can plug him. Let me shout out his Instagram here real quick, just so we can plug him. If you want to go follow Solomon on Instagram, definitely recommend it. He's got a bunch of great stuff on there. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys. It is at SOL. That's .oko. I'm going to put that up on the screen so you guys can go follow him. I'm sorry, I missed that part of the interview, you guys. Instagram.com/SOL.OKO. I think it's OKO. Let me double check my old man glasses. There we go. /OKO. Yep. Or .OKO. Perfect. And then we'll put this up on the screen. There we go. Bada bing. So yeah, go follow Solomon, watch his journey, show some love, send him a DM and say, hey, I saw you on People Helping People. Give him some support because, he's got a baby on the way and he's got more fights coming. So we'll stay tuned and stay up on what he's got going on. Mark says, he's my brother-in-law, but a brother for sure. I love that. And Kayla Coffee Studios, if you guys don't follow her, go follow Kayla Coffee Studios. She's an incredible artist, and she is revamping a new series of art. So she's going to be posting a lot on her socials. Either you can follow her on YouTube or Instagram at Kayla Coffee Studios, and she's in the comments there, so you'll know where to go. Yeah. Anyways, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And we have a lot of big things coming. I got a lot of stuff working in the background. I am not going to be announcing anything yet, but yeah, we will definitely be having some iterations, some upgrades, some, people helping people's making moves. Let's just say that. And it's because of you guys. So thank you so much for being here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody has a beautiful evening, and I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Before we go, if you want to be a part of the show or know somebody that wants to be a part of the show, Instagram.com/people helping people live. So let's see if I can add that banner real quick down to the bottom. I don't see it, but that's okay. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Boom. We'll let this run through. Yeah. Send us a message on Instagram if you're a business owner or you know a business owner or a musician or an artist and you want to be on the show. Go to Instagram.com/people helping people live. Shoot me a DM over there, and it can either be for yourself or recommending somebody else to be on the show, but we'd love to talk to you. We have a really exciting week next week. Our schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 p.m., so tune in and enjoy the show. Jump into the chats. Leave us some messages. Anyhow, all right. I'm dragging on. I love you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being in episode 3 of Chapter 2, The Give Back. Deuces.
Yeah. What's everybody fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.